Hi everyone. This video will show you how to use a hybrid method using the best of iNaturalist with the security of pen and paper. So this is the probably the fastest way I've discovered, just as the person who's taking the most measurements out of all of you probably. So my recommendation to you if you want to use this method is to first of all use an Android phone if at all possible. Unfortunately, because iNaturalist is an open source software and totally free to the public, they don't necessarily have the best development when it comes to iPhones. On top of that, iPhones do have their own kind of GPS systems in place. So we just find that the Android phone is probably the best option for this method or for the best data when it comes to using your phone as a GPS device. So with that said, this tutorial also assumes that you've created a login via iNaturalist and are just looking for kind of a faster way to upload data to it. So if you haven't done that, I would recommend just pausing right now and actually going to do that because we're going to move on straight from there, assuming that you have a login and everything set up. So with that, let's get going. So for the first, so hopefully you've played with iNaturalist a little bit and just looking for a little bit more efficient way of using it. So to start off, of course, when on your actual phone, if you click the iNaturalist app and have hopefully it logged in at least once, so the first thing that'll pop up if you've kind of established that is this screen. So this is the My Observations screen. It should just be the default. If for whatever reason you're not there, you can always click the little menu bar and just find My Observations. So essentially, let's say that you found a tree that you want to measure and you want to start using your phone. The first step is to click the green button to essentially start adding an observation that you have. So that's basically saying that I want to start measuring this tree and I want to make an observation on this particular tree. So as soon as you do that, as soon as you click the plus button, the first option that's going to pop up is the take a photo option. So it'll just pop up in this little white screen here. And you definitely want to take advantage of it. There is an option to skip, but essentially if you're going to be using iNaturalist, this photo is extremely valuable data to the lab, and there's really no reason not to take advantage of that. So go ahead and take that photo, and when you do, and once you're happy with it, you can click OK. So in terms of photo preference, we do like to get a picture of the whole tree just so we can kind of see and make sure that it's the right species, and we can get a sense of the canopy, we can see how the trunks branch. There's a lot of information we can pick up. One picture's worth 1,000 words after all. So once you're happy with that picture, you can go ahead and click OK or retry if you're not particularly happy with that shot. And once you do that, it'll automatically upload to this little area. And another cool feature is that you can keep adding photos as well. So if you want to take a close-up of the fruits on the tree, or take a close-up of the trunk, or anything else that you think will help with identification or might have valuable tree data for us, like more pictures is better. So definitely feel free to take advantage of that. So moving on though, the most important thing that we need to take for this particular step with your phone is that we do need the GPS location to be calibrated, and that's basically where we're going to be able to find that tree. So we do need an accuracy of 5.0 or less, so basically either be that accurate or more accurate. And essentially you're just going to keep clicking the GPS field over and over to refresh that and make sure that you're getting the right accuracy on that. So the GPS field is basically this little label that looks like a map point. So basically, if you click on it, this option will pop up where it says Get Current Location or Edit Location. So essentially, to refresh, what you do is just keep clicking Get Current Location. And it'll keep refreshing based on what it predicts your GPS location is. So as you can see here, this is good because the accuracy is 4.0, which is less than 5. So essentially, you can keep clicking, just keep clicking on that field, keep clicking Get Current Location over and over and over again, periodically until you get an accuracy level that's 5 or better. So essentially, that's a really accurate way to make sure that you're zoning in on the exact spot where that tree is located. So that's a very important and really cool feature of iNaturalist when using the Android phone. So the second second field that you're going to need to fill in at this point when you're on your actual phone in front of the tree is that you should also fill in the species name. So this is to make sure your data doesn't get missorted and you actually know, you can actually keep track of it. So how you do that is you click the species name here. So, you know, assuming this is all accurate now, you can, or even periodically, you can keep coming back to it. If you click on that particular field, as soon as you touch it, there should be a little pop-up window where you can start typing your species name of what you're saying it is. So I know this is an olive tree, so for this particular scenario, I'm going to basically pop open this window and start typing the scientific name of that tree. So that's on your resilient tree key IDs as well. So if you need, if you don't remember the scientific name off the top of your head or the spelling of it, you can always double check there. So essentially, I know this is an Olea europaea, but as soon as another cool feature is that as soon as I start typing Olea and then EU, you can see that that the actual option pops up. So as soon as you've typed enough so that the correct option shows up, you can just go ahead and click it, and then it'll confirm that species identification for you on your observation, which is very convenient. So you see that I've done that, and now it says that I'm guessing that this is an olive tree. There are some optional things that you can click at this point. You basically cover the two most important features, though, if you've done the GPS and the species guess, though. So, but if you do need help IDing it, you can actually click on this toggle bar, and it'll let us know and the lab know that you need a little bit extra help IDing it based on the pictures you've submitted. So that's good information as well. If you have any kind of special notes about that tree, you can type them in here. And it's helpful to click too. I mean, you should be measuring a captive or cultivated tree because these are all urban trees in kind of like a developed area as opposed to like a national park or something. So you can always just click that checkbox just to make it, you know, useful for other users. So basically, this is where if you basically fill out all these forms, you're pretty good though. So like this is where we're going to start dropping off and heading back to the computer. So once you're actually done with all these fields, you got a good GPS location, you've taken lots of nice photos, you've identified the species, you can click this check mark to basically save that in your permanent observations folder. So once you click that, it should just basically pop up in your queue of other observations that you've made. So at this point, you can actually continue to find other trees that, well, after you've measured this tree and you've recorded it, you could theoretically just go back and start making new observations the same exact way. So it'll just keep saving in your particular queue of my observations. So you'll see why this is useful once we get to the computer component of this. But once you've done that, so I've got the GPS and the species identification loaded up into my phone. At that point, this is where I want to start filling in the paper method. So this is a good way to kind of focus in on the specific project information that we want per your resilient tree protocol. So here you can see that I've done all the other basic fields. So I put my name, the date, the time. Time is really useful when you're going to line this back up with what the information on your phone. So make sure that you do take time to fill this out. You know, tree species, just to make sure that we can correlate this back to whatever is on your phone. Also tree condition. So this GPS coordinate is basically just what was displayed on my phone back on that field. So whatever the confirmation was on that, I'll just basically write that in as another way of tracking that back and making sure that these measurements line up. And then from there, basically continue on with all the rest of the fields, measuring the trunk, measuring the canopy size, permeable surface, etc. So once you have that on paper, you can actually go onto the desktop version. So let's say that you've put it into your phone, you've taken this paper measurement, so that tree has been measured, and now you're ready to actually put it into the computer and add it to our project. If you've got a lot of observations, I would recommend sorting all your hard copy data sheets in order, most recent observation to the oldest, because that lines up well with whatever's on your phone. And then we're going to go to the desktop computer at iNaturalist.org. So once you actually get in there, so this is the iNaturalist page, so make sure, you know, basically you can just log in for iNaturalist and, you know, basically add yourself to the project. But first of all, we have to log in, so we'll go ahead and do that. So the cool thing about iNaturalist is that since it's tied to your specific profile, you can jump back and forth between the phone and the computer anytime you want. So let's say that I want to, I'm already part of this project with Operation Resilient Trees 2.0, and I want to basically add the observation that I just took and make sure it's added to this particular project. So how you do that is essentially if you hover over observations, you can go to the observations by you, which is where they're storing all of those observations you took on your phone. So as you can see, like my olive tree observation is loading up, and it's in here essentially. So I can go ahead and view it. And actually take a look at kind of making sure that it lines up with everything that I said it was. It looks to be map-wise, it looks to be in the right location. My photo came through. So this is the point where I can actually start adding all the project fields that I took on paper. So in order to do that, I want to add it to the Resilient Trees 2.0 project, right? So if I want to add to project, I click here. So you can see I'm part of multiple projects, but obviously I want to add to the one that I actually am interested in uploading to. So when I'm ready to do that, so I clicked again, add to project, and then click the gray button that says add under the project that I want to add it to. So when you do that, it'll automatically pop up with that project's requirements in terms of, this is the extra information that we need in order for it to get added to this project. So here I'll actually fill out the full information. So as you guys recall, it was an olive tree. So just click from the drop-down menu. For my height measured, I actually measured a little bit lower just because it was having some weird bumps at that height. So I actually measured at 36 inches. Trunk diameter 5.90. Circumference was 18.5. Height measured, so these are the additional trunks. So just to keep this simple, 11 inches for the second trunk that I measured. The extra dBH was 7.1. If I can type that in there. And additional trunk circumference, so the circumference was 22.25 at that height. We're also looking at the tree canopy size. So again, I can type that in. So 104, east was 72, 66. And again, I'm pulling this directly off of my data sheet. So you would do the same thing. So these are all the same fields that I filled out on my observation sheet. So basically I just took the hard copy and typed that all in. So when I'm ready, I click Save Fields. So as it's saving, it's essentially going onto the project. So now when I go back to that particular project, you'll see that it's been added. So you can see that it went from 190 observations to 191 because I just added that olive tree. So you can see that I just uploaded a few seconds ago, and then so it'll actually locate based on that information. So you can see how that's really useful in terms of, with the phone, if you're using that as a GPS device, this basically helps you locate, where you were and how accurate it was. And basically you can go back at any time as well from the desktop option. But again, you can essentially keep rinsing and repeating over and over and over again for all the observations you took on your phone. So hopefully that was useful in encouraging you to use iNaturalist more. And again, if you have any questions, you can always contact the Urban Resiliency Program, and we're happy to troubleshoot it and walk you through it. Thanks a lot.